Hey, how's it going, everybody? Favorite time of the week as we start off on another wonderful Monday. We've got a bunch of questions for you all. Again, if you guys would like to be part of these videos, as always, comments down below, the favorite ones we will answer. First question is, do you think Furia can win the major? Like, what percentage of likelihood? What would they need to do to get the win? If I had to put a percentage to it, I would say they have like a 12.5% chance. Realistically, I think Furia makes top 8. Like, I think they're a really good team. I think top 8 is a pretty consistent. And from there, once you get top 8, I've expressed numerous times that it's a coin flip. How are they playing on the day? How did Swiss play out for the matchups? So on and so forth. So realistically, I think they have the same chance as anybody else. But my concerns with Furia has always been their defense. And this applies to South American teams in general. They are full send, full aggression, go, go, go all the time. And it's fantastic to watch. It's very enticing to see a team not lose that confidence or that aggression on a live event when most people regress a little bit. The difficulty, though, is if their mechanics aren't perfect, if they aren't making the exact right touch, which there's the human element, which probably won't happen, they tend to overcommit a little bit too much and fall susceptible to counterattacks. And their defense is problematic. It has been for a very long time in South America. I don't very much so see them pushing past top 4 and into top 2 or even winning an event at the current moment, because I would look at what are some of the more well-rounded teams on the other side of the table. You know, you're talking the Gentlemates, Vitality, G2, so on and so forth. I can't realistically put Furia and G2 in a series and go, yeah, Furia is going to win that. Will they be competitive? 100%, but winning it, that's a different story. Where are people playing amateur, intermediate, advanced weekly, or monthly tournaments with winnings nowadays? Is this even still a thing? The best thing you can do, though, is go to Liquipedia, and I'll pull it up here for you guys. And on the right-hand side, what you want to do is you want to organize all the tournaments. Under the upcoming area, usually the D tier weeklies and monthlies will have. So like Celestial Gaming has a weekly tournament that they're doing with a $30 prize pool. It's not a lot of money, but you'd be surprised how little of people sign up to these, and you can earn some extra, gas money or some grocery money by competing in these if you are of the better side of things. I know some pros like Wavy and stuff play in a lot of these 1v1 tourneys, and they farm them and earn an extra couple $100 a week. Indie Gaming League, tournaments of that nature don't really exist like they used to. So it is a little bit more difficult to find. Also, the dog's on screen. Everybody has to say hi to the dog now. Brewer says, what are the best states to host an esports team in org and why? Realistically, if you're a esports team, the location doesn't necessarily matter because it is a global thing. We don't really see regional-based teams in esports, although there is some that do follow that due to franchising and so on and so forth. But if you're an esports team, that means you're probably in a specific title, and finding out where, there is a bigger demographic of either fan base, benefits for competing, things of that nature. Like if I'm an esports org, I want to compete at least in Central or in the East Coast, because in Rocket League, ping is a big issue. It tends to be a pretty big problem for all the West Coast people, and while some things are more centralized, it's still problematic. I want as little of a disadvantage as possible when I'm playing in qualifiers, so I want to live East Coast. Certain games have different benefits to that, but my recommendation is if you're going to really do this the real way, somewhere cheap like the Midwest is fantastic, where you can keep rates and costs low, travel and accommodations easy, building and otherwise is super easy. There's a lot of reason why a lot of corporate people are moving back to the Midwest, because just setting things up are significantly cheaper. The amount you pay for internet services and fiber and all that kind of stuff reduces your costs and your overhead quite a bit. One of the biggest gaming conventions is in Indianapolis or something like that, because it's a warehouse in the middle of nowhere. So costs are super cheap. It has to do with understanding what games you're getting into and why. My advice, though, is please stay away from the Midwest. I like how cheap it is here. I like how little of traffic we have to deal with. I like our summers and stuff, and I don't want you guys to come and ruin it. So stay away from the Midwest, please. Thank you. How likely do you think it is for us to end up with all 4 EU teams in the semifinals or the major? I think it's pretty unlikely, if I'm being honest, Dig. I don't know if we're going to get a similar situation where all EU teams are in different matchups so they don't run into each other like we did in the first major of the year. It's very surprising for a lot of people that we saw Furia go 3-0 instead of a BDS, a Vitality, a K Corp, whatever it may be. In this case, it's going to be Oxygen now, so maybe some things change up. But realistically, is G2 and Gen G going to go 3-2 again? Probably not, but you never know. Maybe Gen G. Is the difference between NA and EU purely skill, or is it a work effort different? I think having that exposure to the sport changes your mentality about the way the game should be played. And this is a conversation we've been having for years, but I think EU prioritizes passing, working as a team, building together, and the strategy that's involved with it. NA has mechanics, highlight reel, showcase individuality, and because of that, there's this priority that happens and a little bit of gatekeeping between, hey, we always want the super fancy mechanical player, not the player that understands ball, that has a really good mindset, that has a really good idea of where and when to be, that facilitates play really well. You know, a lot of people in North America prioritize the flashy, the showy, the mechanical. Overall, I think difference between NA and EU definitely has to do with work ethic is one thing, and then also the ideology of what is prioritized. You know, I got a lot of love for the way that EU handles things. They're very blunt. They're very direct. They are there to get the job done. Feelings and everything else kind of put to a side because it's coming from a place of care and desire to win. And like, it's cutthroat. I don't care if you're my friend. That guy's really good. Like, I'm expecting the Eugens and some of these new French players to get a call up soon. If you could change anything about Rocket League esports, what would you change and why? I don't know if this is just a Rocket League thing or if this is just like an all-encompassing. Communication is always going to be number one. I wish there was better communication. I wish we always had more information being provided. And even if it's not like the most information, just roadmaps. This is what we're planning. It may not happen. We don't know exactly when, but this is what we want to do. Just regular communication. I don't know how they don't have like a PR person or a person whose sole job is to communicate and interact with the community. You are welcome to say like, hey man, this is what we have planned for the off season. We don't know specifics, but just know that there's some stuff that's going to be happening. Hey teams, we have these things going on. So like, communication is number one. It's the first thing I would do. As for formats and stuff, I don't necessarily think the format's bad. I just think that it needs to be supplemented with off-season events. And if we don't know if there's any off-season events going on, I can see why people are getting upset. Do you think Oxygen can make World? So if you guys don't know the playoff scenario, in order for Oxygen to make the World Championship, if Oxygen makes the grand finals, K-Corp is out of the World Championship, Oxygen is in. Realistically, no. I don't know if Oxygen has it within themselves to make the grand finals. That said, they are more than capable of making top 8 and more than capable of winning a quarterfinal match and making it to top 4. It all depends on what the matchup is. It all depends on if they're feeling it or not. Again, we haven't seen this Oxygen team play on a LAN before, but I do know, and I'm a betting man, and you've heard me say this, I think Oxygen's going to perform better on LAN. So I do think it is possible, but the odds are stacked against them. I would be like 60-40% saying yes. Oski on LAN's great. Archie on LAN is always better. And Joyo on LAN is a freak. Maybe it happens. Dakota asks, what do you think is the most meaningful change that's happened in RL esports since its inception? It's definitely been the open qualifier system. As much as people liked league play and being able to plan and know when matches were coming ahead of time, a lot of the matches were useless. They were really boring. They were very one-sided. You basically had to wait multiple weeks for the G2s and Energies to play each other, or the Dignitas and the Gale Forces and stuff to play against, you know, whoever else was competitive at the time, like Complexity or whatever. Realistically, like, league play was very, very boring. It also gate kept a lot of teams. And if you were a team trying to ascend from the rival series, you had to wait and could play once every 6 months for a chance. And if you didn't perform then you had another year of just nothing. As long as there's weighted seeding and things like that, like, that difference has made everybody significantly better. No longer as a team do you just only get the chance to play against an RLCS team once a year, pretty much. It is providing the opportunity for some of these bubble teams the chance to be exposed to why the top dogs are the top dogs, and it makes everybody else better. We have seen a massive improvement in the last 2-3 years of what Rocket League has become at the professional level, and it is 100% due to the format. Do I think G2 has a good chance to win Worlds? I do. I think G2 has a very good chance to win Worlds, but I have concerns. Because historically, there has always been a really good spread of teams from North America that just happen to lose out to the best team in Europe. There's always been that one European team that is a league ahead of everybody else. It's been a long time since we've seen NA at the top, and I think G2 is far away from anybody else in NA. Like, they are the best team and the best chance. It comes with a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations, and everything else. Are we going to see Daniel have a world-class performance again? Are we going to see Beast Mode be able to pop off and hit those flip reset shots when he needs to the most under pressure. It's tough to have that expectation. So realistically, I want to go with history and be like, sorry, man, like Eve's going to win again. They always win. That's just how it goes. But I do think G2 has a pretty good fighting chance. And on top of that, the last question I have, could you make these videos a little bit longer? I personally love listening to your opinions. Hopefully this one sufficed. Hopefully we make these videos a little bit longer for you all so you guys can sink your teeth in. But realistically, if you like this stuff, come over to the stream. Come over to the stream. My streams are literally a podcast. All we do is sit and talk, answer questions, hang out, and do what we can. So with that in mind, if you guys do enjoy these videos and you want to be a part of them, as a reminder, leave your comments down below. The best ones and the ones from the members are usually going to get the attention, but some people skip the line over here on the Twitch channel as well. So with that said, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications, turn those on, as it helps me out greatly. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.